o Poo tá comendo sabonete. Mãe! Mãe, agora eu posso.
The worst failure in its history, a report in the OBR's budget leak claims a system failure, not a hack, and its chair resigned. Keir Starmer defends his budget and his chancellor as the opposition calls for Rachel Reeves to resign.
I am proud. I'm proud we struck the two targets. I'm proud we're lifting over 500,000 children out of poverty. Proud we raised the national minimum wage again. That is what the Labour government is for.
We've lied and lied and lied again. I think we should put our passion into Also this evening, resident doctors have staged another 5-day strike in the lead up to Christmas. Sentenced to prison, we speak to a Labour MP who introduced the Hope corruption trial in Bangladesh. Agency workers hired to cover strike in Birmingham refuse workers now join them on the picket line. And despite the political boom, Downing Street lights up with the final decision. But first this evening we begin with breaking news and the chair of the Office for Budget Responsibility, Richard Hughes, has resigned after admitting last week the use of the Chancellor's budget was the worst failure in the organisation's history. Around 40 minutes before Rachel Reeves delivered her speech, the OBR accidentally disclosed
Mãe, eu me sujei. Posso tomar banho?
technical error. But to make matters worse, the report continues that it's probably happened before. Economic data
sou-
indicated
Eu sou Poo. Eu sou o Poo. Eu tô tomando banho. Eu vou pegar esse sabonete. Eu vou passar em mim.
We've never seen anything like it before. There have been little bits and pieces of rooting and looting ahead of budget. We certainly experienced our fair share of that in the run-up to this budget. We do in the course of most budgets. But critically, the documents themselves remain sacrosanct. And there's supposed to be a very clear set of provisions that ensure that they are never released until the Chancellor sits down. So you have that moment where the Chancellor delivers the budget, and then after she or he in the past sits down, then that is the moment that these documents become available. They become available physically within the House of Commons, they become available online for anyone who wants to go to the link. And it turns out, from this report that we have just had released earlier on, a few hours ago, that wasn't the case this time around. But as of 11:35, so just about an hour before the Chancellor stood up, they were available for anyone to download. And that's what's happened essentially there. And in the report, the OBR has conceded that this was a dreadful mistake. It was the biggest mistake in the OBR's history. It said that it doesn't really
Eu já
have
comi
the
sabonete.
manpower within its organisation to deal with this.
Parece que eu voltei. O gosto desse sabonete tem gosto de sabonete cru. Parece morango azedo.
People to download it. But as we say now, there's also the revelation that this has happened before in March. So someone had been able to download a copy of the budget, essentially, the budget back in March. There wasn't a story that was published about that time, but nonetheless it happened before. And actually, as far as anyone knows, because this report that was done by Kieran Martin, the head of cybersecurity, this report has basically said there might well have been similar breaches in the past. So I suspect there may be more to go on this. And take a step back, I mean, Richard Hughes, the head of the OBR, has resigned after 5 years. His position was looking increasingly untenable given the scale of this error. He decided to hand in his notice earlier on today. They waited until 4:30 as the market could be closed in order to make the announcement, and that announcement has now officially been made. And the question is now who is going to take over at the OBR. Very big moment. think there is a deeper question, which is to what extent did the ODR's forecasts play into the big decision at the heart of the budget, which is to raise taxes? And that's something we've been exploring and looking through some of the data that the Prime Minister and others have been using just in the last few hours. Did the Chancellor mislead the public when it came to the budget? Did the Prime Minister mislead the public? Well, it'll come back to this. Now, this is basically what the Prime Minister just said to Beth, my colleague, when she asked him about whether there was any misleading in the public. He said, look, there was no misleading, simply don't accept that. And then he went on to say, I've been told that the ODR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, that their productivity review has got £16 billion less than the otherwise had. £16 billion less. It's a lot of money, okay? So it's worth just focusing on that, because that is the main justification given now for tax rises. Have a look at what's actually going on here. It all comes back